I'm very excited to be speaking with Janice Taylor again, and many of you may have heard the first interview, which talks about a dragon in the land, and we are coming up against social media. We all know that it's infecting our children's lives, it's infecting our own. Even as mothers, we are constantly on our phones. We never have our phones far. And Janice, you have come up with an incredible antidote to that, and it's called Mazu.
Yes.
And describe for me what is going on in the world as you see it, that compelled you to create this other platform.
Great question. The biggest thing that's going on in the world is we have what's called a vortex of fear. When we enter the FANG system, and FANG is really the acronym Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Google.
Wow.
When you put those letters together, it spells FANG. It's kind of fitting. Because that vortex of fear has its fangs in you. And so when the fangs are in you, you're not living your life. No matter what pictures you post, no matter how many videos, you are going back repeatedly to check and see if you matter.
And the kids are caught up in it. Everyone's caught up in it. Like, this is how we are living our external life. And we can give such a false view of what's happening in our life by just putting the right pictures up.
Absolutely. And it's not even, children and adults, it's our leaders. Our leaders say, check out our Facebook page, follow me on Twitter.
Well, Trudeau even, and he does his
everyone does
their posts.
And so I was recently at a church, and the pastor was like, follow me on Facebook. And I was so surprised by that. I was like, you're sending all of the people to the hands of really a fear-based evil system that's not built for humans. It's built for robots. And so, if we think about what's happening in our world today, that grip of fear on our society has caused massive polarization. We can't find a place to agree about anything. We are a click and a tweet away from a disagreement. And when we come out of that system, we're so activated that now we don't look at each other even for just common conversation or connection or to find a common ground or relationship. And our kids are saying, hey, look at me, look at me. And we're like, and so it's beyond our distraction. It's pulled us into a vortex of fear where we stop actually living from love.
And do you think, I think you described it as being high.
Yes. And biologically, you are high in those systems. It's the most acceptable form of drug right now that we have in our society. Everyone has them. We give it to babies. We give a device to each other. We have our leaders saying, come there. It's the most acceptable form. But if you look biologically at the brain, much of the brain is lit up exactly the same as a complete heroin addict. And so if you think about that, we're making decisions and choices in these spaces that affect all of our humanity, because we believe the identity that we have in those spaces is real, because we have 1,000 people that have agreed with that identity.
Wow.
Even though in our heart we may not feel that way. So the pull of that experience creates a false self.
Right. And think about when you are high, or people that have drug addictions, they're not making good decisions. They're not actually crafting a great life. They're kind of numbed to everything. It's not a good place to be.
No. And so what we say, even in the addiction world, you can even read Dr. Gabor Mate, he will tell you that the numb and stuffing is the root of all addiction. We want to numb and stuff our feelings. Well, what better place than having something in our pocket that I don't even have to be bored anymore. I don't even have to experience boredom. That was a feeling that we had, but that boredom, that quiet, allowed us to get in touch with our true self. Now we've eliminated that. We don't even hear that voice.
And you have a psychology degree.
Yes.
And so you have got some training in how our minds work. And this is insidious. That's the word I would use. Would you use that word?
100%. It is the most insidious robbing of our time. And there's one piece of history that I can't help but think about, but it was Homer's Odyssey. And Homer came around an island, and he noticed all these shipwreck. And all these ships were there. And he's like, where did all the fishermen go? Where's all the pirates? And he goes onto the island, and he finds that everyone, as soon as they get there, they're like, here, have a flower, have a flower, have a flower. And they're all eating this flower. And then he notices that some had been there for decades. And what they realized, while everyone was eating the lotus flower, all the ships got robbed. So whenever I see the phone go, push notifications, look at this, check this, go to this, all I do is say lotus eater, lotus eater, lotus eater. Because in many ways, we're all trapped inside a lotus layer. And in the lotus layer, we believe that we're having the best life and we're the most relevant, but in truth, we're getting robbed of our time.
Right. And robbed of our relationships.
Yes.
And how many times are we on the phone rather than with our children, or our children with us, or with our spouses?
Yes, because now the inconvenience of our feelings, our true feelings, we can now all escape them. And the one thing that when you think about it, all of our anticipatory responses are gone. We don't anticipate a show coming up anymore because we can record it. We don't have to wait for a commercial break because we can fast forward.
Or we can see it on Netflix and binge watch.
24/7.
Yeah.
But if you ask a person about each one of those episodes, what they actually remember about them, they'll remember the first, they maybe remember the last, and nothing in between.
Wow. And we've just lost all that time.
Hours. And we don't process it.
Right. I think your message is so powerful. It's so needed. Thank you for creating this other platform. In the last minute that we have, tell me what is exciting about Mazu and why everyone who's watching this needs to go and click on your new platform, sign up, join up, and start the family on a new adventure.
We need to start thinking about our lives, that our real life needs to reflect our digital life. And so that our real life contains values. You and your family, it's not an all for one. Pull your family out of the vortex, nurture your children, show them, teach them how to swim in the sea of chaos, and show them normal and love. You know, this whole notion that our children should be exposed to relentless cyberbullying because that makes them tougher or more resilient is ridiculous. Our children need to be nurtured in love, and Mazu protects love. It nurtures our children, and we really create a healthy digital village so that we have a normal in a sea of chaos.
Right. And it can still be so interesting because, you know, that love will draw us in. And that is a beautiful thing. I thank you for what you've done as a mother. And in our family, we are going to check that out. I appreciate you taking time to tell us that. And, you know, if this has stirred your heart, thinking we need a little bit more emotional health in our family, then check it out, mazufamily.com.
That's it.
All right. We'll be right back.
Thank you.